Hey everyone, this is Justin, the Orange Dream, on behalf of Strong Style Studios, doing a solo video today. Apologies, I was planning on having a review of the first couple rounds out earlier, but had some technical difficulties with my camera at home, so here we are at the studio doing my review. This first video is going to be the first two rounds. It is a 3-round tournament. It is a 16-man tournament, and so the first show had eight matches, and the first round was first match, Satoshi Kojima versus Tomohiro Ishii. This wasn't the best opener, in my opinion, to open this tournament up with, just because it was very slow to start. This was actually the longest match on this entire show, and it started out with a lot of chops. It very much lacked direction in the first half of the match, and then it got pretty exciting towards the end. Some nice near falls, and I guess I can spoil who won since I'm doing these together. And in order to say what the next matches are, I can say one. Kojima goes over here, or I'm sorry, Kojima loses here to Ishii, which was a bit of a surprise to me since Kojima is the bigger name. Not a huge surprise. Ishii getting the push there. I gave this match 2.5 stars. I could see people giving it more. I just thought it was too directionless at the beginning. It took too long to get into it. Second match, another tournament match, was Hirooki Goto versus Tama Tonga. This was another decent match. Goto really carried the action here, but this was just fine. Like just a solid match. It had a better consistency to it than the first match. It didn't have whereas the first match was kind of slow, then really picked up. This one had a consistent pace to it. Some nice spots. Overall, I gave this 2.5 stars. Decent second match. Third match was Minoru Nakanishi versus Toru Yano. This match was not very good. Actually, this was pretty bad. I'm not a big fan of Yano in general, but this match was mainly just a brawl on the outside to begin for most of the match, and then the ending was completely botched. Just took away, all the heat from the ending of the match. Just came off kind of flat, and it was just a very, very basic brawl, kind of a sloppy brawl, and it just didn't have my interest. It was short, but not very good. I gave it 1.25 stars. Number fourth match was Hiroyoshi Tenzan versus Karl Anderson. Now this was a match. A lot of these matches were pretty short because they didn't want to take away from either the bigger matches on the card, and then they didn't want to take away from the matches, the future matchups in the tournament. So they kind of held back, especially on this first show. Didn't put forward their best stuff. Didn't want to upstage what was to come next. This was one of those matches. This was actually quite a good match, and then just kind of ended. Like, these guys were working well together, had good chemistry. It was a fun, entertaining match. And then when it ended, it started going into this really exciting finishing sequence, and then just kind of ended, and it didn't feel like it ended where it should have. So I gave this 2 3/4. Good match. If it had gotten extra 2 minutes or so, this would have been a bit higher. So then we had a 6-man tag to kind of break up the show here. Just kind of have more of a fast-paced match. Didn't want to show all singles matches, obviously, but we had Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kishida, and Alex Shelley, the Time Splitters, versus Captain New Japan, Prince Devitt, and Ryusuke Taguchi. I like this match. It was, again, just short, spotty, just to kind of, again, break up all the singles matches, have something different in the middle of it. I like this. It worked for what it did, for what it was intending, got the crowd back into it. I gave this 3 stars. Good match. And the 6th match on the show, the 5th tournament match, Togi Makabe versus Yujiro Takahashi. Not a whole lot to say about this match. It was pretty basic. Felt like house showy. Neither guy really went all out here. And decent match, not sloppy at all. But I gave this, again, about a 2.5 star match. The work was decent, but nothing to blow away. So then we had Yuji Nagata versus Minoru Suzuki. I was excited for this match coming in because I like both these guys quite a bit. Both guys rarely have a bad match. But again, kind of short. They were definitely holding back because these guys could go a lot further than what they did here. And it was a good match. There was, the crowd was into these guys. Fun, lots of hard hitting, of course. Some really nasty slapping from Suzuki. again, I'd give this around 2 3/4, just under the 3-star mark. It was good for what it was, though. Entertaining, fun little match. Then the 8th match on the show, which was the 7th tournament match, was Kazuchika Okada versus Lance Archer. Now, this match was very difficult for me to rate because I liked it. The work was really solid. Like, everything looked good. It was crisp. Archer looked a lot more crisp than he normally does. My problem with this match was that Archer just so dominated so much of this match. And it was almost unbelievable because Okada's been a title contender, one of the top guys. He got hardly any offense in until he made his comeback about 5 minutes left in the match. It just became unbelievable how much Archer was dominating this match. And that hurt it for me. Even though I wasn't bored by what Archer was doing, I liked what he was doing. He was playing his part well and everything. It just got to be too one-sided. It lost believability for me. I still give it 2 3/4. Still a pretty good match. So up until this point, lots of matches that seem to be too short, not really a whole lot to them. But this match was kind of saved this first show a bit here. We had Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Davey Boy Smith Jr. Now this was a good match. Good way to end the show. Got the second most amount of time. They told a pretty good story. These guys worked well together. The wrestling was actually really solid. Davey Boy is actually looking much improved on the mat. The holds were pretty basic, but I still enjoyed them because they were working within the holds, making it look like, you know, they were trying to get an advantage and get an opening, and I always like that in the mat work. And then it had a lot of that nice storytelling, nice build, good pacing, and then it had a nice finishing sequence that picked up quite a bit. Very impressed with Davey Boy Smith here. Obviously, I'm always impressed with Nakamura, but Davey Boy Smith had one of the better singles matches I've seen of his, for sure. Only problem was the finish. Nakamura goes for the Bomaye and hits it, and Davey Boy Smith rolls through. There wasn't even a count or anything. So it kind of undersold the move a little bit, but then it had a nice finishing sequence after that. Davey Boy Smith gets the surprising win here, but very good way to close out the show. I gave this 3.5 stars. This I wouldn't, go out of your way to. I wouldn't go out of your way to watch this show or this match, even though it was pretty good, unless you really want to watch the entire tournament. You're a New Japan completist. So next show, round 2. This took place, I believe, on the 18th or the 17th of March. We had Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask 4 versus Captain New Japan and Bushi. This was, a decent opener. I always enjoy watching Liger. Him and Tiger Mask are a fun team. It's too bad that they're, not featured more and are often in opening matches. Captain New Japan, he's not bad, but he's kind of silly, Bushi's pretty good. He's more of a high flyer. So this had a good pace to it. It was kind of just spotty, get the crowd into a type match. But in terms of that, it worked. So 2.5 stars here. Second match was Togi Makabe, Hiroshi Tenzan, and Satoshi Kojima versus Iizuka, Yoshi-Hashi, and Goto. Again, this was a decent second match. Not a whole lot memorable. Very house showish. It's a 3-on-3 tag. Sometimes they just kind of, everyone has their moments, but overall it's just kind of a basic match. I really favor the Makabe, Tenzan, Kojima team. They were clearly so much better than the other team. Iizuka's actually maybe the worst guy in the company, in my opinion. He's just, I don't know. He's just, his matches are slow, sloppy. He doesn't seem to really have a grasp of psychology. I haven't seen a ton of him, so hopefully I'm not just burying him, but I'm not a big fan of his. And then Goto, not a huge fan of either, but this was an okay match, 2.5 stars. Next we had Shinsuke Nakamura and Jado versus Lance Archer and Taka Michinoku. This was a fun match. Nakamura's always fun. Jado's kind of got this weird, Ric Flair thing he does, where he does, a flare flop and all that kind of stuff. And Michinoku's always fun to watch. He can still go. He's still fast. And this was kind of just another fun match to showcase some of these guys, get the crowd into it more. I gave this 2 3/4. So next we had a tournament match. Waited until the 4th match show to have a tournament match. That was interesting. But we had Takahashi, Yujiro Takahashi versus Davey Boy Smith Jr. This was pretty decent. Not very long. Again, seemed like they were trying to just get through the next show a little bit here, which a lot of these matches suffered from. This was decent though. 2 3/4, just under the 3-star range. So next we had a nice surprise, in my opinion. We had Goto versus Ishii in another tournament match, and I thought this was a really good match. This was the second best match of the tournament, second best match of any of the shows here, and these guys worked really well together. They were very stiff, lots of stiff strikes, lots of this match was like almost entirely strikes and power moves, but it was just constantly impressive. Really fun to watch these guys go at it and try to one-up each other in terms of their power. And it was just like a bunch of cool moves. And then the finishing sequence was lots of great false finishes. I give this 3 3/4 stars, just under the 4 range. I could see people rating this a little lower, but I enjoyed it. So next we had Yuji Nagata and Nakanishi versus Sakuraba and Shibata. This is kind of just a short little match. Here, I really like the team. I've mentioned this before. I really like the team of Sakuraba and Shibata. They both have MMA styles, differing MMA styles, but they're this was kind of a nice, and also Nagata is also kind of that way. Striker, doesn't mixed martial arts influence in his matches, so those guys worked. Nakanishi kind of was the odd man out in this match, but he did his best. So yeah, just kind of a fun little tag match here. Nothing to write home about, but 2.5 stars. So next we had another match that was similar to the match on the first show, which was Tanahashi, Kishida, and Alex Shelley, the Time Splitters, versus Tama Tonga, Prince Devitt, and Taguchi. Again, this was similar to their first match. Honestly, I have trouble placing which match was which because they both seem very similar. But this was another one that was just kind of to break up the... this match, again, just broke up the tournament matches, just kind of a fast pace. I always enjoy watching Kishida and Shelley and Tanahashi. Devitt, of course, and Taguchi. So I pretty much liked all the guys in this match. Fast pace, which it should have been. Everyone just got their stuff in. 2 3/4 stars. So next we had a match that I was not a fan of. We had Toru Yano versus Minoru Suzuki, and somehow Yano got a bad match out of Suzuki, so that was not good to see. And also Yano went over, which I don't know, because they're basically playing the same dynamic in the next match, which you'll see in my next review. In their next match, so you could have easily had Suzuki go over here. I didn't see why Yano won. This was another just short, stupid brawl match that didn't really do much. Like I gave it a 1.5 stars. I think Yano's one of the worst guys on the roster, and I just was not into this match at all. But then we had Karl Anderson versus Okada. This was a little disappointing. I really like both these guys. Both these guys are red hot, and they just had a great match at King of Pro Wrestling. It was a tremendous match, and both these guys are really on a roll here. But again, it seemed like this match was kind of shorter than it should have been. Didn't really go anywhere. It was just fun to watch these guys work and hit each other hard. And Anderson's improved his charisma quite a bit, and of course Okada's charisma is like off the charts. So this was a fun match. I only gave it 3 stars. It just didn't have that big match feel to it. It definitely wasn't either guy's best work. But as for rating overall shows, I kind of had a hard time rating these shows individually because it's kind of part of a bigger picture. But the first round, I'd only give like 5 and 5.75 maybe. Just probably the worst New Japan show I've seen. Still decent, had some good things on it, but overall it just felt like a flat house show from start to finish. And second, someone over there just let one rip, I think. It's gonna be on here. I gotta put it out there so I'm not ruining this video. But rating for the second round was a little higher, maybe a 6.25. Again, not their best work. But anyway, stay tuned for round 3. That's where the action begins to pick up a bit. So that's it for me. Stay tuned for my next video.